Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I am sharing with you a full face of my current favorite makeup in my collection. It's really just as simple as that. I'm just going to kind of go through each step along the way and tell you the thing I've been using the most or that has been most exciting to me when I've used it in my collection in each category. So we're going to kick things off here with primer. Most often right now I'm using my Catrice Prime and Fine Aquafresh Hydro Primer. Again, this packaging is different now. I've talked about it a couple times recently on my channel. The packaging looks different, but the product is the same in the new version. So I'll link the new version down below. This is just a really good hydrating primer. So it's what I'm consistently reaching for, especially right now in the dry Colorado winter. It's been feeling really good on my skin. I have been a little bit sick the last couple of weeks, so this is also just sort of cooling on my skin. It feels really good, and I've really been enjoying it. Next, I've often been going in with my LA Girl Pro Conceal Peach Corrector shade under my eyes. Again, haven't been sleeping that great, haven't felt that well, and so this just brings a little brightness to my under eyes and helps conceal those dark circles a little bit. And personally, I prefer to either put this on before I do a foundation step, so that it kind of blends really seamlessly and there's not kind of a line of demarcation. Or I like to actually mix it in with my concealer and just make my concealer a slightly peachier shade. Today, I just put it on beneath my foundation product, which was the bareMinerals Primetime BB Blur. I don't think they sell this anymore. I keep trying to look for it when I go to link stuff and I can never find it. So I'm really sad about that. I really like this product. It has a little bit of SPF in there, so it's kind of just a nice added layer if you do your makeup later in the day, like I often do. And it's also just really nice and hydrating, easy for me to put on, super quick. Not a lot of coverage, which is what I've been really enjoying lately. So this has just really been my one and only go-to kind of full complexion product. And then I spot concealed a little bit with my Colourpop Pretty Fresh Creamy Concealer. I have the shade Light 40N if you're curious. I like this concealer so much in the winter time. It really is super hydrating. It's not the highest coverage concealer I have. I'd say it's a solid medium coverage, but it just feels so good, especially under my eyes. And it's a really beautiful texture that lays really nicely across skin all over my face. So you know, my forehead, my chin, my nose, wherever I have a little extra redness. So it's a really nice to pair with that bareMinerals product because it just adds a tiny bit more coverage without it adding so much more coverage in certain areas that it looks weird with the extremely light bareMinerals coverage. So it's kind of that really good in between for me, and it lays really nicely on like drier patches of my skin, so I never worry about that in these dry months either. During that step, I also went ahead and put on my Milani eyeshadow primer. This is just a step that I always do, so I put that on my eyelids, and then I also put it kind of underneath the outer corners of my eyes because I knew I'd be putting some eyeshadow there today as well. So I blended all of that out after letting that concealer sit for just a little bit to kind of get the best coverage I can out of the coverage that that product offers. And then I powdered just my under eyes with my bareMinerals Mineral Veil. I mentioned in my declutter video a few weeks back now, probably almost a month back actually, that it's been a while since I really used this powder. And when I mentioned that in that declutter, it really reminded me how much I love it and how lightweight it is and how beautiful it is. I had just sort of forgotten about it because I was using my Maybelline Fit Me loose powder really consistently over the last like year. It's my oldest powder, so I have been trying to kind of use that one up quicker than I've used this one up, but I pulled this out after that declutter just to kind of remind myself why I love it, and I really do love it, and I have wanted to only reach for this since then. So definitely my favorite right now. Then I went in with my UOMA Double Take Contour Stick. This is an incredible product. One side is a contour shade, one side is a really beautiful highlighter. I did use both of them today. They are just really foolproof cream products in my opinion. The contour is cool toned enough that it adds a lot of really nice definition to my skin. but it's not so cool tone that it looks like gray or ashy. So I am wearing it today, and I don't think it looks unflattering or too gray. I do have cooler leaning undertones. I'm pretty neutral in general, but leaning a little more cool. And so something more contour shade like this for me, especially in the winter time, actually looks like a pretty natural bronzer as well. So really, really nice product for me at this time of year. The highlighter side is one of my all-time favorite highlighters. It has just a slight pinky tone to it that again blends in really nicely with my pale winter, slightly cool leaning skin tone. This is a product that I also kind of I don't want to say rediscovered, because it's not like I didn't know I loved it, but it's something that I pulled back out and really put at the top of my mind during my reorganization of my makeup. So not the declutter video, but the video I did right after that one, and I'll link both of these down below, obviously. But the reorganization, where I kind of moved stuff around my collection. This used to get stored with my bronzers, and since storing it in a new spot in my collection, I've been remembering to reach for it way more often, which is super exciting because this is also the time of year when I love it most. So have been super excited about that. And then I went in today with the Fenty Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Blush in the shade Drama Class as my blush. I have really been loving this purple blush. Again, kind of 'tis the season for me. I really, really love this blush, kind of like late winter, early spring. It's just such a beautiful crossover shade to me. The cooler tone here really looks like a nice like berry flush. Kind of like that cold girl makeup trend going around. A color like this actually gives me more of that look than like a berry tone does, like a warmer berry. So for my particular undertones, this is a really beautiful shade for that. Not that that's what I'm doing here. I obviously don't have it like on the designated spots on my face for that kind of a look, but I love it for that. But then I also love in sort of when I'm in the mood for more of a springy look, because although it's February, it has been really beautiful out in Colorado a few days, and so I'm in that spring sort of mood. When I'm in that mood and when I want to do those sorts of looks, this just pairs so beautifully with like spring eyeshadow colors. And so I've really, really been loving this as well. And then I went ahead and did kind of the eye region. I used my Merit Brow 1980. Woo, I'm throwing things. My Merit Brow 1980. I have the shade Blonde. You'll see in the footage, I don't even bother to like brush my brows through with a spoolie and shape them before using this product. It's really just super foolproof for me. I've really been enjoying it. I really wanted to use up my e.l.f. Wow Brow. I'm so close to the end of that product, but for some reason, I just keep reaching for the Merit. And I think it's just because it's like the exact right tone for my brows. It's like the exact color I want, the right amount of hold. It's like fibrous enough that it fills my brows in a little bit, so it's a good one and done. I mean, are they perfect? No, but I don't need them to be perfect. I just want them to look good enough, and to, because they're one of the bigger features on my face, add a little bit of that definition back to kind of counteract like adding lip and eye products and things like that. So this has just been my go-to for right now. And then I'm going just slightly out of order here because I want to talk about the mascara here before I talk about the eyeshadow. This is the Thrive Liquid Lash Extensions in the shade Crystal, which is a brown shade. So I've really been enjoying this for kind of those more subtle makeup days. I know today I've got like a slightly heavier eye look going on, which I'll talk about in a second. But a lot of times I've been skipping eyeshadow altogether, honestly, and just going in with this mascara. And because it's brown, it's a little less intense than having like black mascara with no eyeshadow behind. So it's just been a really good kind of crossover for me. But I do think it also is dark enough and defining enough to kind of hold its own against an eye look like this too. So I've been reaching for this a ton. I'm also reaching for it a lot because it's by far the oldest mascara in my collection, and I just honestly, I need to use it up and move along to something else. Now, speaking of the eyeshadow, you are not going to get the full eyeshadow tutorial or, you know, all of the steps here in this video today because I actually put it up as its own separate video last week. I did this look using this little custom palette I made from all of my single eyeshadows, and I had promised you all that after traveling with this twice, I'd come back and show you a look and some other ideas and different things I did with this palette while I was using it. So I filmed that. It went up last week, so I will link it here if you want to see like an in-depth detailed demo. But essentially I used all 4 of the matte shades that are in here, and then I use this shimmering shade up here in my inner corner. So again, that video has all of like what these shades are, what brands they're from, etc. listed in that description box, so I'm not going to get into too much detail here. But that is the eye look today, and I really have been primarily using this palette because I took it traveling with me, and it's just been a convenient little color story for me. And then last up, I have lips, and my most used lip liner over the past month has definitely been my Thrive lip liner in the shade Kackie. It's just a really beautiful kind of warm brown, so it's been going really well with any eye look in that custom palette that I might have made. It goes really well with the lip products I'm about to share with you that I've kind of used most often. It adds just enough definition, but I'm able to smudge and blend it just enough to be like not a harsh line for a more undone look. So just been kind of what I've been reaching for most often. And then when I sat down to say what really was my kind of favorite or most used lip product recently, I had a bit of a hard time narrowing it down. So I have 3, and they're all sort of in the same realm here. And I did swatch them all when I was doing this look so that I can kind of talk through the differences here verbally, and then I'll show you the differences in that little clip as well. But essentially, the 3 contenders here that I've used most often and loved the most are the Merit Shade Slick Tinted Lip Oil in the shade Taupe, coming as a surprise to literally no one who's ever watched my channel. The second most used is the Makeup by Mario Moisture Glow Plumping Lip Serum in the shade Mauve Glow. And then I've also been using this Kosas wet lip oil in the shade Jellyfish. It's just a clear gloss a ton lately, and this is actually what I'm wearing today. So this is what I decided to put on with that Kackie lip liner. But let me talk a little bit about why all 3 of these are sort of in the running. Basically, it comes down to I've been wanting a more low maintenance, slightly more undone, glossy lip lately that is kind of moisturizing and just enhances my lips a little bit without being a huge amount of pigment or the focal point of the look. So all 3 of these really do that. Taupe by Merit, this one is adds just a little bit more of like a cool tone aspect, a more brown aspect. It is like cream, so there's no shimmer in it. So all of the sort of all of the shiny effect that you get from this is more so from just the fact that it's like an oil consistency. The difference with the Makeup by Mario, and you'll see this in these kind of comparison swatches I've got, is that this actually has a little more of a pink tone to it, just a little bit of a warmer pink, and it has some actual shimmer particles in there, so it has an actual like glow to the lips. So those 2 are a little bit more interchangeable, but both of them are super comfortable, really moisturizing, and easy to reapply. So I love them both. And then the Kosas has been really reliable for me on these days where I just truly want like a clear gloss. Like I just want my lips to look like I put something on them, but I don't necessarily want to change the color or the tone or the shape or anything like that. So I couldn't quite narrow this one down to just one because I really have been rotating between all 3 of these pretty consistently. So this, as you've been seeing throughout the video, is kind of the final look that comes together with all of these products. But these truly have been the things I've been using most and loving most. It really is a full face of my current favorites, and none of these are new to me. None of this is new to my collection, so it's exciting to me that I'm really loving and enjoying and using the makeup that I've owned for a long time here, kind of just getting use out of all those things I already have in my collection. I hope you enjoyed this video today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.